Completed the square. All right, let's get it. Let's truly live the dream. Let's LTD, baby. Let's do it. Off to the right, I have my formula. This is the formula that a perfect square trinomial will follow. The c value is always half the b squared. Now, if that is a perfect square trinomial, the reason they call it that is because if you factor it, it can be written as a perfect square. And it follows the formula of just x plus half of b quantity squared. So we're going to be using that today to solve something a little bit quicker. So I have two examples. The first one, I want you to notice, I've given you a perfect square. 16 is half of -8 squared. So I can use this strategy right away to go to an easy factor. So here's what it looks like. Because I notice this follows the perfect trinomial pattern, I can quickly write it as x minus 4 quantity squared. Notice, still following the pattern. This is half of my b value. When you have a perfect square, how do you get rid of it? Square root. So I'm left with x minus 4. Because whenever you square root a square, it results in the inside. Now, 81. Everybody's like, 9! Kind of. Also, -9. Both are legit answers. I want to isolate my variable, so I add 4. So it's 4 plus or minus 9. Now don't leave it like that. These can actually combine. So let's do some mental math. 4 plus 9, 13. 4 minus 9, -5. Done. Quick and easy. If you recognize a perfect square trinomial, you can solve it very quickly. Now what if they're not as convenient? Now this one, clearly 3 is not half of 6 squared. So here's our goal when we have to do our own work to complete the square, okay? Step 1, you want to isolate your variables. So I get the 3 to the other side. So now I'm left with x squared plus 6x. I put a blank because I am going to complete my square to make it what I want. Equals -7 blank, okay? So I added the 3 and that's how we get the -7. I look to my formula. What number has to go in that blank in order to make it a perfect square trinomial? Half of my b squared. What's half of 6? 3 squared, 9. Now keep in mind, you just, you threw 9 on one side of the equation. We have to balance it. You got to add 9 to the other side. Okay. Now, I'm going to rewrite this. It's a perfect square trinomial, so I'm allowed to write it as the quantity of x plus half of b squared. And I get it equal to 2. Now it's looking very, very familiar to what we just had. Same step, I'm going to square root. I get x plus 3 equals, whenever you square root, we got the plus or minus. That doesn't break down. That's okay. Stays square root 2. I still need to isolate my variable, so I subtract the 3. I get x equals -3 plus or minus square root 2. Now, if you've already started using quadratic formula, it looks just like it. That's why the plus or minus is in the quadratic formula. Notice the difference here. This answer, my actual numbers could combine, so I proceeded further. Those cannot combine unless you go to a decimal, and then we're approximating. So that's my exact answer, and I'm finished. Quick tutorial on how to use the formula for completing this square, and how to solve when they give you the perfect square trinomial and when they don't.